Welcome to Actuate Water Faucet, an innovative blockchain faucet dedicated to revolutionizing water management in communities, especially in northeastern Kenya. By leveraging blockchain technology, Actuate Water ensures fair access to clean and reliable water sources. This initiative not only empowers economic prosperity and educational advancement, but also contributes to reduced crime rates. Our project incorporates a 3-day creative training program for community development workers. These workers will educate households about transformative change, what we call metanoia. This process involves envisioning the future they desire, understanding their current conditions, and mapping out how to achieve that future. Within the Actuate Water Faucet, we offer an innovative 8-week learning program. This hybrid program combines online and physical meetings, catering to diverse learning preferences and schedules. Participants actively engage in these sessions and earn tokens as incentives for their contributions. These tokens serve a dual purpose. They not only reward individual participation but also empower community development workers. With these tokens, workers can train households within their communities, amplifying the program's impact far beyond the immediate participants. This creates a cycle of empowerment and knowledge sharing, enhancing community resilience and well-being. Our solution facilitates economic activities like agriculture and small-scale businesses. It also alleviates the burden on children, particularly girls, who often miss school to fetch water from distant sources. Through Actuate Water's faucet, communities unlock their economic potential, promote sustainable growth, and foster a brighter future for all. Join us in transforming lives with Actuate Water. Together, we can build a sustainable and prosperous future. Welcome to Actuate Water Faucet, an innovative blockchain faucet dedicated to revolutionizing water management in communities, especially in northeastern Kenya. By leveraging blockchain technology, Actuate Water ensures fair access to clean and reliable water sources. This initiative not only empowers economic prosperity and educational advancement, but also contributes to reduced crime rates. Our project incorporates a 3-day creative training program for community development workers. These workers will educate households about transformative change, what we call metanoia. This process involves envisioning the future they desire, understanding their current conditions, and mapping out how to achieve that future. Within the Actuate Water Faucet, we offer an innovative 8-week learning program. This hybrid program combines online and physical meetings, catering to diverse learning preferences and schedules. Participants actively engage in these sessions and earn tokens as incentives for their contributions.
Okay, thank you, Frida, for reminding us about Actuate Water. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon, Dr. Welcome to today's session of Actuate Water. This is session 5 for cycle 3, and we are going to explore critical issues and innovative solutions that shape the future of water and sustainability in terms of water. And it's inspiring to see such a diverse group of individuals who are dedicated to advancing the dialogue on water's profound impact on human development, environmental health, and of course, economic resilience. Today, we're going to delve into the water and energy nexus, which is a crucial intersection that underscores the intricate and interdependent relationship between water and energy. This topic is central to understanding the challenges and opportunities we face as we work towards sustainable resource management in Africa and beyond. And we are honored to have Albert Oko with us to guide this discussion. Albert brings with him a wealth of expertise and deep understanding of the complex dynamics at play in this particular nexus. His insights promise to illuminate how innovative approaches and technologies can optimize the use of these essential resources, reduce environmental impacts, and drive sustainable development. As we begin, I want to encourage all of you to actively engage with the discussion, pose questions, and share your unique perspectives, and we can shape actionable solutions and foster collaborative efforts that have a tangible and positive impact on our communities. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Albert Ooko to take us through this important and timely session. Albert, you're welcome. Albert?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now hear you. Go on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I start the introduction of the water nexus, or is there somebody who should present? Is it me?
You can begin, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We are to discuss the main topic of today was the interrelationship between water and energy resources and how to manage and how managing one can impact the other in terms of the energy used for water treatment distribution. So I don't have the Excel part that I can display this information. So you must just give me your ear for the whole session around 10 minutes. And I think when we begin by the definition of water nexus, water, we want to begin by the definition of water nexus and the water energy nexus. This is just the interconnection between water and energy resources, how one can impact the other and how the other can impact the other. Then how water can impact energy in terms of production or any other way. And the other way is how energy can impact water in the ecosystem, in energy resource, in food production. So that's the main definition and that's the main agenda of water. The interrelationship between energy and water, how they can impact each other. So when we come to the importance of water nexus, that's what we want to emphasize on, why understanding the relationship that is critical for sustainable development of resource management. So when we come to the relationship between energy and water, when we begin at simple as the term of water treatment, you see in water treatment, let me begin with that. In water treatment, energy is needed to purify water. There are some water cannot just be purified, even in terms of even the basic one that we purify in the village, others must use charcoal, must use charcoal to absorb water and color and steel, so on and so forth. So when we come to water purification, a tree have to be chopped, charcoal have to be prepared, and this where then the energy, that's where the energy comes. Or even in terms of water, when we come to modernity, in terms of water purification, there are things like the tank that is scheduled to purify water and star water to renew. Those are energy needed. Electricity should be needed to set up the apparatus and the programs. So energy must be there for water treatment. So that's where energy must impact water for the process to hasten, in order for the process to take place faster than in terms of purifying water in case of boiling. See, when we compare boiling and those that use electricity to purify water, boiling will take a lot of energy. When it got electric one, it seemed to be faster. Boiling will be slowly, but it seems to be faster. That's why energy helps in water treatment. When it comes to pumping, when water is needed to be relocated from one point to another, even in our farms, in agricultural sector, we have to need water pumps. And water pumps, there must be solar, generator, or electricity. So this is where also energy comes in. When energy comes in, water, the process of transferring water from one point to another will be hastened instead of using open ditches like this, so on and so forth. And even in terms of energy, it will go to a strategic location where the water is needed in, and the quantity of water will be controlled at specific amount, how it is needed. And that was how energy impacts water. Now let us come to how water impact energy, because the main agenda of today was water nexus, water energy nexus, how water can help energy, how energy can impact water. When it comes to energy, when it comes to farm, these like industrial areas, industries that are set up, there need to be a water system. Even when this energy is running and is operating in a means, but there must be water that can be used to cool. Yes, permit. There must be water that can be used to cool the plants. There must be water that can be used to generate, yani to cool the machines when they have reached the optimum level. So that's how water can impact it. Energy cannot just move continuously without water. Water is also a form of energy, but at some point it must not be a form of energy. It must be used to regulate energy. That, as to my understanding. At the end of the session, you can put down your question, ask me a question. For now, I where there's a problem with my or a point of information. When we come to another where water can impact energy is the biofuel. When I don't know how I can explain this, the thermoelectricity plants where energy like the biogas, if I'm not wrong, biogas use power downs, water. Therefore, water, even though there is energy, the biogas to be made, whether there's electricity and the product, there must be water, not in terms of cooling the biogas or in terms of cooling the machine, but in terms of mixing with the cow dungs and all other things and the plants, those energy that can be produced in order for it to be effective so that the energy cannot be spent much. When something that is only taken to the mixing agent, it becomes new. Then my third point of view was challenges in managing the nexus between water energy resource. We have to point number one. My area of point number one of my interest point one is the resource scarcity. So in terms of water scarcity, when there is less water, there will be less production of it. When we come back to and flashback to areas that there's scarcity of water, look Kenya, you can subdivide Kenya into three parts. Divide Kenya into the eastern part, the western part, and the coastal region. When you come to each areas around Nairobi, there are rivers and the depth of water is somewhat shallow. And in terms of dealing water, when you have to go down to the depth of water, somehow around 40 meters around Nairobi, you receive water. So where there is water, there will be many industries, as to me, there will be many industries because water and energy they correlate. And when you go to areas like Nigeria, the other places where there's lack of water, so those where production will be less, and one there will be no energy, yeah, and there will be no industrialization as to me. Water come hand in hand with energy, to my understanding. So that's why you see other places like the coastal region, find there are even whether the water is salty, but it can still be pure. So water will scarcity resource limit energy and energy is really water. But things that are the others water because as to me I understand water is something that come to climate change means the high global warming the, the, since there is high global warming increase both water when there are high global warming ice Arctic melts. Ice melts, the sea levels rise, leads to displacement of settlements. Some other areas. If the ice melts increase by 1 meter, estimate there will be displacement of coast around 7 kilometers should be an ice melting the Arctic. So when ice melting people and so on and so forth, this may affect the people who are already around the area. These I'm talking about around along the coast and the so water as to me it affects that. So fourth thing, there I was just to be brief about it, but managing nexus. How can you manage nexus? The interrelationship between water and it can be managed so that it can be efficient produced through all out. So energy efficiency in water, energy efficiency in water use energy efficiency water treatment. So we should use water system and adopt renewable energy sources for water management. For water management. This using energy efficient water treatment that adopt energy sources for water management. So when we come to those, we come look at renewable energy, those things that can minimize uses of water, not just using water. There are renewable energies that can use them and energy. So not just spending a lot of water goes, but the energy. So when we come to renewable energy, it will be efficient because we use water. Then we need another on how to manage water nexus. So we need to water efficiency in energy production. We need to implement technologies to reduce water use in power generation, e.g. dry cooling, e.g. dry cooling power plants. See, when we use a lot of water in energy production areas, the consumption we need to try to estimate that there are one. So we need to reduce by introducing rules, implementations, and policies that allow industries and companies to use dry dry cooling power plants. Like moved around Nairobi, you can come to industrial area, there are many plants that they spread the water. They use dry, dry cooling power plants and even a power plant industries. Since the depth of water is shallow, it's also an advantage. To that that matter, I think the implementation of cooling in power plants is suitable and favorable for many. This because this will reduce water uses and increase the energy savings. To me, as to my understanding. Another thing is the integrated policies. It seems to be closer to the point I said earlier, but advocate for policies that manage water and energy resources together to avoid unintended consequences. This point I've just read from the book, I noted it down. Advocate for policies that manage water and energy resources together to avoid unintended consequences. This this policy this policy has to should be placed that water should not be used to some amount of energy. I think that's the right term. Because water should not be used till a certain point. Every company should be given that this amount of water in terms of cooling need to use for a period of time. Period of, this policy also may reduce the wastage and allow it to shift other forms of cooling. And, conclusion, my summary is importance of addressing water energy system. These are good things. Water and energy, they relate. We understand. In as for me, I understand. But how can we manage? Or how can we advocate for people to use the just to use them? You can allow them to use it. So as we need to allow collaboration of other sectors to allow people to get informed and need also to educate people at the grassroots level the importance of water. Another thing, you to implement policy as students. As for now, there's nothing impossible. We can just implement people in our cycles to inform those industries that we have compete of water for example, that's the thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Albert, for such a wonderful presentation. And we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come and speak to us about the nexus between water and energy. And to the audience, if there are any questions, you can type them in the chat box. Comments or additions towards the discussion that we've had with Albert. And then up to this juncture, I want to take this chance to welcome our CEO, Dr. Macharia, to give a few remarks. Dr. You're welcome.
Thank you, Barbara. Hey, Barbara, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, Doc.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Albert. Oko. I think that's how you spell it. Oko. Albert.
Albert.
Oko. Double O. O-O-K-O. Is it?
Double O-K-O.
Excellent. Thank you so much for now reminding us one of the most important relationships in this world. Water and energy, they're fundamentally related. And that is very, very important. Everyone, that's called a relationship. A relationship is not just for a couple, man and woman, husband, wife, this, that. We have things that are related to one another. Okay. Now the question becomes, is this relationship between water and energy a causal relationship? Or is it just an incidental relationship? A causal relationship means that if one thing, then the other. Okay. For example, if we have abundance of energy, then we are going to have abundance of water. Is it true? So for those people who are in science and research, and of course, they are writing their thesis and dissertations, you have fundamental questions called hypothesis. The hypothesis of no difference. That, and this is what we can say with now what Orko has told us. Hypothesis of no difference. Having energy does not make any difference as far as having water. That energy has no effect on abundance of water, or availability of energy has no effect on the availability of water. That kind of hypothesis is known as a null hypothesis. Then you would go to test it. Yes, test the hypothesis. And if how do you test that? Now, what Orko has told us is the actually obvious reason without even testing. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or a neuroscientist to know that there is a relationship between energy and water. Almost you can say you could never get water if you do not have energy. That relationship is primary, is causal. That means having abundant availability of energy has been demonstrated time and again that you will have abundance of availability of water. So water is not scarce, by the way. There's no scarcity. Water is totally abundant. But what is it that prevents water from being abundant? Because to have water, you must have energy. But then there's something else that is hidden in that equation. That to have water, you must have energy on condition that you have money to harness the energy. All right, because energy itself does not lend itself just for example, we have so much sunlight in Africa. The sun rises almost every day, except there's not a single day you don't get sunlight in Africa for 12 straight hours in a day. Sun is a source of all the energy we have in this world. But then people are talking about scarcity of water when there's scarcity of solar energy. What is the problem? The problem is the third factor. It's not even a factor. It's now the real primary cause of harnessing energy so that we can have abundance of water. Harnessing the energy that's abundant in sunlight or even in wind, in all kinds of energies, harnessing the energy itself so that you can have abundance of water, abundance availability of water. So because we have an abundance energy that is unharnessed, then the first step is to understand how do we harness that energy so that we can use it to harness the availability of water, the abundance of water, water that's abundant. The abundant water is in the rain. It rains almost everywhere. Even those places that look like dry places, they still get rain once in a while. That is the water coming from heaven itself. So to capture that water, or what's called harvest, the rainwater, you need coordinate energy to organize how you are going to harvest the water from heaven itself. That's free water. We don't pay for it. Then after water has rained on the ground, it tends to run all on its own, heading towards the ocean. And when it rains, instead of figuring out how to spend energy to harness the rainwater that's flowing, which is called the drainage. The water is draining it away. We allow it to just go to the rivers, and enters the rivers join together to form tributaries, then form one massive river, and eventually they dump it in the Indian Ocean. It takes energy to organize a system that can capture that water. Even before we go to the water purification, just harvesting the water itself it's a whole energy project. That energy requires the physical energy that men have to do to build dams, to build tanks, to build roofs, and all that. So that's energy, and I think it's all potential energy. Energy that is not activated is potential energy. And there's energy in every individual. That energy is in yourself, in every man, every woman, which can be deployed to create structures that are going to harvest the rainwater. And eventually, you have water that is underground, which you can get through boreholes. Now, to drill a borehole, you need large quantities of energy to run the machines to drill the borehole itself. But when we are talking about all these energy things, there's one thing we avoid that is actually in that nexus, is how do we organize money to finance all those things for harnessing energy? How do we organize money? And that's why we're here. Organizing money is what's called capital formation. How do we form capital, for example, to create a water harvesting process? Water harvesting is very simple. It's just having a roof that's having nice gutters and having tanks. Even having those tanks is gonna require you to have money. Having a roof, having that, but it's not very complicated science. It's just understanding that needs to be organized and harnessed. But before even you can get to people organizing capital itself, what is missing is not the capital to be organized, is knowledge. Let's say education. People do not know. And if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. That knowledge that you do not know, and do not know that you do not know, is in a tacit dimension. So you could say the primary cause of abundance or availability of water, or the primary cause of availability of energy, is knowledge that is existing today on the ground, but it is in tacit dimension. Meaning that people have this knowledge, but they don't know they have it. For example, when you go around the country in Kenya, you are seeing people with roofs everywhere. Everybody has got a roof. Even institutions like in universities, they have roofs. But when it rains, all that water that is coming on the rooftops will allow it to drain on the ground. Why is it that even in the universities, we cannot implement a system for harvesting that water that's coming from the roof? Is it because we do not know? Yeah. And let's say these are places, say like universities, where people are teaching people about energy, and they overlook one important thing. They actually know it already, but they're not doing it. The things that you know and you're not doing them, you are knowing them, they are like there. People say in the back of your mind. The back of your mind is the posterior cortex, which is true. It's a parietal cortex in the brain. It's somewhere in the back of the mind. So you do not, it's not in the front of the mind. It's not in your frontal cortex, or your prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal is where you begin imagining how to create new stuff. So what we are talking about is taking that knowledge about what we need to do. First of all, recognizing the primary cause. Because today we are talking about cause-effect relationships. We say that high availability of water causes an increase of increased availability of energy will cause increased availability of water. Okay, that's a cause-effect relationship. Now, if you put it backward, you go one step backward, you say increased availability of capital will increase availability of energy. Okay, capital is not absent, it just not formed. So increased availability of knowledge to form capital will increase the availability of capital, which in turn will increase the availability of energy, which in turn will increase the availability of water. So you can see, if you look at now, that's what's called the great circle of life. For those people who watch Lion King, if you understood what Lion King was about, it's about the great circle of life. Okay, the great circle of life, that the cause causality, or it's called causal relationship. What causes the other thing? And I think what in Africa, we are made to believe the things that are intermediate causes are the primary causes. So energy is an intermediate cause for availability of water, but energy is not the cause it's not the primary cause of availability of water. Okay, behind energy, before energy is another cause, which is capital formation. Capital formation, increasing availability of capital formation. We are going to talk about what that capital formation is so that you guys understand. Increased availability of capital formation will increase availability of money to fund energy. So availability of capital formation, or capital formation itself, is another intermediate cause. It's not the primary cause of having more energy and having more water. It's an intermediate cause. Capital is not absent. Of course, Africa is replete with capital. There's abundance of capital everywhere in Africa. Whether it's capital from above ground, capital on the ground, capital even underground, capital in the minds of men and women, which is called knowledge. We have abundance of that. But that capital, we are not able to harness it. Why? Now we have to go step backwards. What's the primary cause? What causes people to form capital? It's the knowledge about forming capital. First of all, appreciating that the capital is there, recognizing it, it's there. Then when they can recognize that, then they can form it. And then when they form it, they use it for energy projects. And energy projects help to harness energy, to create devices for water projects, because all that is energy. It's a whole causal relationships. You see, it's a linear relationship, and that linear relationship is exponential. Well, let's say it's not linear, it's exponential, but it's going on one direction. Is the direction of causality relations, causal relationship. So from understanding how to form capital to high availability of water is a question. So if you collapse the entire chain, let's call it chain, the chain of knowledge, or the chain of causality, you find that you can say increase in knowledge about how to form capital will increase the availability of water. So that you have jumped about 3 intermediate conditions, or intermediate, yeah, because they're not the primary, intermediate causes in between water and understanding. Now, understanding how to form capital. Capital is already there, but it's in the tacit dimension. That capital that exists in Africa, which is, I told you, is abundant. Not only does Africa have a lot of people, young children, young, the youth, let's say young people, than any other continent in this planet. That's a huge capital called human resource. And human resource comes with brain power, which is another capital, which now, instead of keeping it, Ruto is trying to export it in a process called brain drain. Now, the other capital you find is the environment itself is highly productive. A lot of land, mineral resources on the underground. So all that capital in Africa, if we do not understand it, we cannot form it. Formation is the word. Formation, understand that. Forming capital is the word. So if you cannot form it, then we cannot use it for funding energy projects. We shall be going to other people who know how to form capital to beg for money, borrow money. Please, can you give us money to come and do a project here? That's a bad idea. It's very, very bad, because anytime you touch money from somebody else, you become the slave of that person. If you receive money from, say, what people call donors, they own you already. You're the slave. Yeah. And they cannot give you money. Money is never given. Money is invested under certain conditions. So unless you figure out how to form your own capital, we figure out how to form our own capital, we are going to be in a state of continuous scarcity. There is nothing scarce. Everything is there. It's being created. all the way from day one. So that is what I would like you to understand. First of all, what have we said? There is a causal relationship, a universal causal relationship in existence. And that's what Mr. Oka is calling nexus. Nexus is like a crossing point. I think the nexus crossing point, beyond nexus, you can see there are several things that have to, they're influencing the other. That is, first of all, water is influenced by energy. Energy is influenced by having money to harness the energy. Having money is called capital formation. Capital formation is influenced by knowledge of how to form capital. So it's a question of knowledge. Yeah, it's a question of knowledge. What is it that we do not know about capital formation? And that is what I keep saying. Hernando de Soto in 2000, he published his book called The Mystery of Capital. That is what is called the mystery of capital, the absence of knowing what capital is. We do not understand it, and so we cannot form it because we don't know. And I said, you cannot know things you don't know, and things you do not know that you do not know are in a place called the tacit dimension. Another disorder called that dead capital. See? So capital, if it's alive, is the primary cause of abundance of water. So in this nexus, then we can say that the true primary cause of abundance of water is life capital. And what makes capital to be life? Capital becomes life because of knowledge. And that is really what's been, it's a very, very difficult question for our people, because you see, we have been taught about intermediary causes. And we believe that that's when you go to all the universities, colleges, they're teaching people about intermediary causes of issues. That is why the issue of capital formation never rises at all. So there are two other steps behind that you have to take before you can even get to the intermediary cause, like energy. And this is what we are doing here in Actuate, to go through the entire 9 yards, not starting from the middle, but starting somewhere from the beginning of all things, which is called knowledge how to do things. Now, getting there is a really hard thing. It requires a change of consciousness, a movement in your consciousness, something that moves in your mind, not even the mind, so that what you used to think you know, then you know that it wasn't true. It was an intermediary thing. So something else that's behind there. For that thing that's behind there, you already have it. In order for you to see it, something has to move into your consciousness. And I'm talking about moving the knowledge from the back of your mind, because capital formation is the back of the mind. People already know that they need to have money to do all those things. It's in the back of the mind. But then how do you move it from the back of the mind to the front of the mind? You bring it to the prefrontal cortex of your brain. How do you bring it forward all the way to the front? That is what is called a metanoia. Metanoia is a shift of consciousness where your knowledge, what you think you know, moves from the back of your mind and comes to the front of your mind. And that's why we're here, to understand that. How do you move what you think you know from the back of your mind? And now the primary knowledge, as I said, is about forming capital, forming capital to fund energy, so that you can you can have energy to provide to increase the availability of water. That metanoia is what was described in Genesis 1. I'm going to say, just in case you have forgotten, in Genesis 1, we were told that God created the heaven and the earth earth was without form and void. Without form and void. So it's about formation. So form and void. So when that happened, we saw that the place was without form and void. What happened? we were told that the spirit moves above the surface of the waters. The spirit moves above the water. When the if, let's just start again from the beginning. The the whole place was without form and void, and darkness covered the surface of the deep. Okay, darkness covered the surface of the deep. That darkness that's covering the surface of the deep is what Hernandez was calling mystery. It's a mystery that covers your ability to see the tacit dimension. In order for you to see through that darkness, what happened? That's the next statement. And the Spirit of God moved. See? The Spirit, your spirit has moved. What you're talking about your spirit moving is that movement of your awareness of being from your parietal cortex, which is in the back of your mind, into the prefrontal cortex, which is the front of your mind. You get that? That's a movement. It's moved above the waters. The water is about what you feel about things. It's your emotions. The emotions are usually something called the limbic system, which is beneath the parietal cortex and is beneath also the frontal cortex. So the spirit moved above the waters, boom, forward, and that caused a huge shift in consciousness. And he said, "Let there be light." And when there was light, he was able to shed light into everything that he was creating. Now, what we are talking about is that if you want to see the primary cause of things, because that's when you begin to create solutions for issues that to see those primary cause, you have to undergo that metanoia, a shift of consciousness that is required. That's absolutely necessary. Then you're told that God, the Spirit of God moved. The Spirit of God moved above the waters. See? And so then, very far down in Genesis, you're told something amazing. That after he has done all those things, creating things, he said, "Let us create man in our own image, and in our own image we shall create him, and he will be able to do all things that I've done." Now you are able to do exactly the same thing. Do you understand? That's what the Genesis is trying to tell you. You can create these things. You're able to evoke that metanoia state. You're able to evoke metanoia. You're able to evoke a shift of consciousness to move your consciousness from the parietal cortex into the prefrontal cortex. You see that? That now process is not what we call actuation. Okay? To actuate your awareness. So instead of us complaining about what we don't have, we now recognize abundance. It's already there. The abundance is already there. That process is critical to turning that dead capital into life capital that we have in Africa, so that it becomes available. Now, that is high philosophical stuff. You might say, well, this does not apply to me. And I can tell you it applies to you very well. You're able to execute that. Not by going to church and praying about it. You can do that, that's okay. But that won't do it. What will do it is you get to know how to do it physically in this material world. We call it in the world of Caesar, in the physical world. How do you get to that tacit dimension today? We have the technology called blockchain, which is also created by some metanoia. So blockchain is the primary technology for forming capital, the technology forever invented. Capital formation in the traditional finance was formed through capital markets, such as the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now that's very, very difficult for us because the difficulty level created in capital markets is incredible. You cannot get in there because it wasn't designed by us. But now we have technology for capital formation. You see what you're talking about, that statement about the void, without form and void. Now we have the technology for creating form so that the place is not void. The void that is in that statement is the dead capital. Capital is dead, so it's void. But If we have technology for forming capital, then it's not going to be void anymore. Mhm. How do you do this? 4 distinct steps that you must all know and know them very, very well so that we can have abundance of water. Step number 1 is have a wallet, a crypto wallet. Okay, Actuate wallet, because I told you that movement is what's called actuation. So have Actuate, and that's why we have created the Actuate token itself to evoke that movement of your awareness from your parietal cortex to bring it to the frontal cortex in the front of your mind. Yes. So wallet, you have a wallet with MetaMask Trust Wallet. That's the beginning of the journey. When you have that wallet, you receive Actuate token. Actuate token by itself is not liquid, but thank God that we now know what is liquidity. Capital formation is what's called liquidity. Okay, so that term form that you find in Genesis 1 is equivalent in economics is liquidity. Liquidity occurs when you take one token like Actuate and then tie it with another token like BNB, or even by BTC, that is Bitcoin, or even ETH token, ETH, Ethereum coin, or any other token. You tie 2 of them together. When you tie 2 tokens together, liquidity automatically happens. Why does it happen? Of course, this is a natural law that when you bring 2 things together of different kinds, they produce a third thing. Where have you seen that? Of course, in relationship, when you have a man joining a woman, they are likely to create a baby all on their own. You see, that's the thing of tying 2 things together. And see, somebody who discovered this code, Hidden Adams. Hidden Adams is a mechanical engineer, and he gave us something called Uniswap. He said, "Oh, guys, what have you been talking about all these years to make your tokens liquid? All you have to do is tie one token to another token, and then it's liquid. Liquidity means that it is current, it's flowing like a river. That's what liquid is. Liquidity, flowing like a river. That means it's flowing. It can flow from one pocket to another, and with value. That's liquidity, and that is what capital formation is all about. Can you imagine? These are creation type of stories. They are very, very profound, and that's why blockchain is it's totally mind blowing. If it doesn't blow your mind, maybe you have not even begun to scratch the surface to understand it. To blow your mind, that you take your token, tie it with another token, you are liquid, and that's what. Now, if you get hundreds of thousands of people taking Actuate token, tying it with that token, we have massive liquidity, enough capital for funding the energy projects so that water becomes increasingly available. The abundance of water will manifest spontaneously out of that. You see, so this, if you put them on a line from left to right, where water is on extreme right, knowledge about capital formation is on extreme left. In that relationship. Now, the relationship is not linear. The more knowledge you have about capital formation, the more capital you form, the more energy you are able to harness, and the more energy you harness, the more water becomes available. That relationship is exponentially positive relationship. So if you have to do a graph, it will be curving upwards. What do you call it? A convex curve is curving upwards, rising from, because it is multiplying by a certain, let's say, a factor of 2 squared. So it is an exponential relationship. I do not know the exponent yet. Maybe Albert Alco will help us to calculate the exponent for abundance of capital to with abundance of energy, an exponent of abundance of availability of water. And I think that is what probably we shall be reporting in Boston in our summit 2025, because that's a very important relationship to work. So what am I saying, ladies and gentlemen? For you, you don't have to worry about that deep mathematics of exponential relationships. What you have to think about is how you participate in providing possibility for abundance of water, meaning that you already have Actuate tokens in your wallet. And if you don't have, you're going to receive some today. And take those Actuate token as sacred, because they're going to help you or help create liquidity, which is going to help abundance of capital, to harness the energy, and therefore abundance of energy to harness the water, and therefore abundance of availability of water. Okay, so when you're getting the actual token, think about that sacred equation, sacred relationship, which is exponential relationship of abundance. And that is described all the way from the Genesis 1. And I have to keep saying these things so that you understand them. Okay. So then I think that's what I would like to say. Make a liquidity pool. And if you do not know how to make a liquidity pool, liquidity is like liquid water. This is liquidity pool for liquid water. Liquidity pool for liquid water. The unfortunate thing about many people in this world, they just like to talk without doing. Talk without doing is what? Is empty talk. No empty talk. And it's like what James was saying, faith without action is dead. Faith without action is dead capital. So when you say you're here and you're in Actuate Nation and you're Actuate Water Project, take the Actuate tokens, use them to create a liquidity pool. That is what's called action number 1. Of course, you know what happens in the liquidity pool. It opens you, it gives you access to the most innovative financial platform ever invented in the history of mankind. These are decentralized finance. So decentralized finance, now you can see, now the final conclusion. Decentralized finance used positively has got positive effects on energy. Let's say exponential positive effect in a causal effect relationship, and would have positive effect on abundance, availability of water. See? And that decentralized finance relies upon everyone in the network creating a liquidity pool. Everyone having tokens, put them in. And you see, the beautiful thing about liquidity pool is that when you add your tokens to liquidity pool, they're still yours. You have not actually given them to anybody else. Like I had some people with complete misunderstanding that when they put their tokens on liquidity pools, they are giving them away. No. When you put your tokens in the liquidity pool, you are not giving them away to anybody. They're still yours. They are in your wallet. So long as you let them remain there and be patient, because you're creating liquidity, then in a year or two, you're going to see them appraising and changing in value. Okay, so that is what I would say the greatest circle of life, according to Mufasa. You know, Mufasa in Lion King, the great circle of life. The great circle of life, the causal relationship. It's called causality. So we cannot get through the causality without understanding that knowledge is already in the tacit dimension. It's only by actuating that knowledge, that tacit dimension, converting it into explicit format. That means shining light on it, having your awareness of being or your spirit shine light upon that knowledge so that you can form capital, which you take out the void. The void is the dead capital. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me hear your questions, concerns, or even philosophical thoughts but no theological thoughts, philosophical only, no theology. All right. Okay, back to you, Barbara.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Masharia, for reminding us about the capital formation and liquidity pools. And if there's anyone with a question about that, or you want to learn how to create liquidity pools, you can reach out to any of us on the team, and then we'll share with you the video on the creation of liquidity pools. Meanwhile, because this is a learn to earn session, I've also shared the attendance form, and you can fill it as we wait to see if there are any questions.
Yeah, and maybe if people are looking for questions, you can show them that video about creating liquid pools. Do you have it handy? Barbara.
There are no questions yet or comments, and I'm going to paste here the YouTube link for creating a wallet.
Did you hear say? Can you create that video about creating liquid pools? I don't know why she is. Hi, Barbara. Are you tracking?
Let me get the video so that I can share my screen and play it right now. Let me know if you can hear the voice of the video I'm playing.
Hello. Let's learn how to create a liquidity pool with Actuate. First, you need a blockchain wallet. We have different types of wallets, but for this demonstration, we're going to use a multi-coin wallet. You can get a wallet by downloading it on your app store. Search Trust Wallet and install. Open the wallet and get started. If you have never used Trust Wallet before, select Create New Wallet Otherwise, Add Existing Wallet, and type in your secret phrase. After creating New Wallet, click Secret Phrase, then back up manually. Read the checkboxes and confirm that you have understood. Trust Wallet will provide you with a series of 12 words. You need to write them down in the correct order and spelling and store them safely. Confirm your phrases, and you will be directed to the home page. Here, you can see your tokens. Let's start by seeing our wallet address. Click on BNB Smart Chain and receive. Those numbers and letters below the QR code are your wallet address. You use it to receive tokens. Next, we are going to add Actuate to our list of tokens. Let's go to our browser and search Actuate Bio. Click the BSC skin button. Then scroll down the page up to Other Info. Copy the token address and return to Trust Wallet. Manage Crypto. Click on the plus sign at the top most right. On the text boxes, the first one is Network. We're going to change it to BNB Smart Chain. Next is Address. Let's paste the token address we had copied. The other text boxes are automatically filled with details about the ACT token. Lastly, click Import, and you have successfully added ACT to your wallet. Next, we're going to create a liquidity pool on PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is a decentralized exchange. Still on Trust Wallet, go to Discover, and on the search bar, type PancakeSwap. Read the disclaimer and confirm. This takes you to PancakeSwap.finance. The page you see first is for swapping tokens. To create a liquidity pool, select Earn below, then select Farm Stroke Liquidity. Click the Connect button to connect your wallet to PancakeSwap and select Trust Wallet. Confirm the connection. This will take you back to PancakeSwap. Go back to Earned, then Farm Stroke Liquidity, the scroll down, and select My Positions. Click the Add Liquidity button. For token pair, choose ACT and BNB. If ACT is not on your list of tokens, on the search bar, paste the token address you got from the Actuate Bio website. Next, select a fee tier of your choice and scroll down and set the price range. Lastly, select your deposit amount and enable the 2 tokens, then create the pool. If you are successful, your pool should appear here. As we had earlier stated, to create a liquidity pool, you need to pair 2 tokens, that is ACT and BNB. To get BNB, go to a marketplace like Binance. You can install the app from Play Store and sign up. At the bottom of your screen, go to Trade, then scroll the margin, spot, etc. line up at the very top of your screen. Click P2P at the end, and this will take you to the peer-to-peer market to get traders who will sell BNB to you. Check the price, verification, number of trades, and the ratings of each trader before buying. Click Buy and read the seller's terms. If you agree, Set the amount you want to spend and your preferred mode of payment. Send the cash to the trader and wait for your tokens to be released. Your tokens are now in your exchange wallet, and to use them to create a liquidity pool, you need them in your Trust wallet. Go back and select Wallet at the bottom of your screen, and at the top, select Funding. Your BNB tokens that you bought should appear here. Click on Withdraw and check your coin list. Go back to Trust Wallet and copy your wallet address. Let's switch back to Binance and withdraw our BNB. For the network, select the BNB Smart Chain, then paste the Trust wallet address you just copied and set the amount you want to withdraw. Congratulations! You now have BNB in your Trust wallet and you can create an ACT BNB liquidity pool. Select
Okay, that was on the creation of liquidity pools and how you can be able to create your wallet. First of all, the Trust wallet from Play Store, and then buy BNB from Binance, and then you create your liquidity pool on PancakeSwap.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, that is the primary cause of increased abundance of energy, which will cause increased abundance of availability of water, highly available water. We cannot have available water if we don't know how to farm capital by creating liquidity pools. So you already know how to do it. So it's not some theoretical story. It is something that you have full control. You are able to do all by yourself. And that's why we're here today. So that when you're talking about from theoretical stories to practical applications of that theory. Okay. And that is why this is very exciting. Thank you so much, Barbara, even for showing that video. And people have understood the connection. I think you could call it the nexus between energy, water, and liquidity pools. The nexus between energy, water, and liquidity pools. When those things are together, then magic happens. All right. So let's do the magic. Let's make the magic happen by creating liquidity pools. Okay. And of course, one thing that you haven't known about liquidity pools, or probably you have not appreciated, is that liquidity pool is an investment. You invest for yourself. Instead of spending the money, eating it, you invest it for your future. That is what it's all about. So you actually do good or do greater good when doing good to yourself. By getting energy available and water available. Okay, so I think I've said enough for today, but I think if there are questions. So are there any questions, Barbara? Even on chat box.
No, there are no questions. It's Albert who was asking if we have a common group for discussions and afterthoughts, and I've told him we have the Actuate Nation for that, which I already added him to, and also the Actuate Water, which I'm going to add him there.
Awesome. All right. So awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mary.
Let's spend this whole week creating liquid pools so that we can make this water liquid as possible or available in its liquid format. All right. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. And to everyone, remember to go through the video on the creation of liquidity pools and buy your Actuate tokens from Binance and then you'll be able to create a liquidity pool. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Albert, for taking us through the discussion, and the meeting is adjourned. And today we shall not be having the session on blockchain and decentralized finance. We shall take over from next week on Saturday. Thank you very much, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.
Awesome.